We are going to our very first visit to the set of Son of a Critch.
So I'm the production assistant.
The Basecamp Genny Op, executive producer, post-production supervisor, and music supervisor.
It's so great to have you here and to have TFS represented at Son of a Critch and in Newfoundland. It's a real honor to just connect my two worlds. So when I sort of put on my producer hat, I really see the value of having skilled and trained workers and the value of working with them, particularly in an industry that's frankly experiencing labor shortages. There's such a commitment and investment from governments, provincial governments across the country, from federal governments to invest in this industry. But one thing that's not moving as quickly as it should is sort of the training of the workforce. And it seems like a huge opportunity for Toronto Film School to help elevate production across the country.
When I was younger, I'd mess around with my parents. I'd be like a goofball, pretending to be superheroes or whatnot. And then they were like, all right, let's just see if he wants, he enjoys like an acting, like Saturday, something like school kind of thing. And so I went for like a couple hours on a Saturday doing singing, acting, dancing, a theatre school, acting school. And I just really enjoyed it. So I did The Sound of Music, and then it went into adverts, and then short films, and now I'm a CBC Son of a Critch. There's a lot of pros, like free snacks, that's great. Exploring, so I've been to Rome with acting, Slovenia, here, Vancouver, and I don't know, meeting new people, I guess, like other cast members and crew members, and learning about the whole process every time I do something new.
We bring the power to everyone that needs it and set up and point all the lights. Once blocking is done, we bring in all our lights and set up to get eye lights and background lights and lights coming through windows and set up for night or day. And the biggest challenge we have is when we're lighting outside. If we're going for a bright day and then a big cloud comes in, or if we're doing the opposite and we're going for dull and the clouds break. Best thing I can say about getting better at any of these trades is pay attention to the guys that have been doing it for a long time. The only reason you get good at stuff is following the people who have done it before you.
So at the end of the day, when all the camera cards come to my department, I'm in charge of processing that. That's what I do on a daily basis, but more than anything, I'm in charge of all picture editing, all post sound, all color, all music, all delivery, right to the very end.
I thought that your work begins after the production, but you're saying that you start before everyone. How is that? Can you explain?
Before we even start shooting, we have to determine what specifications we're actually shooting to. So I take all of the specs, put it together, work with the DP, work with the camera crew, so that before they even begin shooting and doing their camera test, we know that we're shooting in spec, we're using the right cameras that have been approved, we have the right workflow established, so I manage that process right from day one. If I was to hire somebody, I'm more impressed with somebody's personality and drive. That's why I would hire somebody, because I can teach somebody to hold this or do this and do this a certain way that I want it done. But as far as the most important quality, it is 100% your attitude.
My friend, I need to tell you a little secret. You need a nose job.
My job is basically maintaining the camera department. So it depends if we're on location or in studio. If it's location day, it's a lot more complex. So we basically load our truck the day before, And then we offload, we figure out where all the gear is going to go at the location, and then from there we do our job. And in studio, it's a lot easier. We're already set up in here, all the gear's in there already, so our stuff's kind of already set up. As camera, like I thought about it the other day, you have to be close with every department. Transport can get your truck really close to the location. You have to be good in with them. Lighting, you're going to need power for your batteries, for your monitors, so you want to be good with them. The grips are always, the dolly grip especially, is probably the closest, like single person. And then like, yeah, craft obviously, you want to get in good with them so they don't spit in your food. I loved like making movies as a kid. Like I had a camera from a young age, just did like weird short films with my friends, and then went to college for film, and then I found out about the camera trainee program, which was like huge.
In prep, I'll get the scripts and I read them, sit down, read them start to finish, and then step away from it, start thinking about it, and then I go back again and I start breaking it down. So then each scene, each day, the characters will change, and we figure out what that is, and if it needs a double, if it needs a triple, does it get bloody? Do we need to build it? Where are we gonna find it? How are we gonna source it?
Allison,
Hi.
this is one of my favorite things. What is this? Literally everything is really interesting here.
We have a breakdown that we follow, which is a breakdown of all the scripts and all the different props pieces that we're going to need to make. And that's kind of, we do that in a chronological order of shooting order, as well as in order of where they're in the script. And then of course there's also stuff that just comes in, like one day somebody from prop says, we need this thing now, like the director saw this particular thing and said, we want this, how long would it take to get that thing? And one of us will take it and make it. And, like, we're not writers, so we're not necessarily writing the comedy for the show or the emotion of the show. But sometimes you're asked to do something and they just gotta say, just run with it and see what you come up with. And we can come up with something that adds to the comedy or adds to the emotionality of a moment. And then when you see that, like, you know, go out the door and somebody says, that's awesome, and you hear, you know, reports back from the set how like, oh, the crew were all laughing about that thing or whatever. That's cool. It's a moment that you realize that you're, you know, actively a part of something.
What are the 3 things you want to see the most? Gospel.
Yeah.
1, Northern Lights. 2, Northern Lights. 3, Northern Lights.
What about some whales?
Oh, 4 whales.
Oh, whale! Finally it was a whale.
So a big part of this job is we'll come on pretty early. We'll do the initial script breakdowns, and then we work with the director and help enact their envision, liaising with the crew. Our breakdown includes our cast members, all of the elements that we'll need to play. We'll create the schedule from that, and that's what becomes known as the board, and that's what the show will execute in terms of a schedule.
Well, we start and end each day depending on when to try and avoid like crew going into overtime. You know, we want to make sure that you know, people aren't being overworked, that they're coming in at a reasonable hour. You know, I mean, it's important that the crew gets a fair little treatment. That's all.
Canada's starting to realize that diversity of voices make up the fabric of what our country is, and the truth of our storytelling is being done through that. And I say that as a white male, fully aware of that, but you know, when I started out, I felt like what I was trying to accomplish was impossible, not realizing the privilege and opportunity that was obviously presented to me by just being a white dude. I had no clue. Weirdly, I know it's embarrassing, but as we all learn and we're all growing and we're all realizing that this country's made up of so many different types of people from so many different types of backgrounds and so many different types of history, that, you know, Canada's really getting good at now opening that, and we have a lot more to do. But that conversation is present and is on the forefront of everything everybody's doing, or it should be.
Canada, I think, has a very well-established and a very successful film industry for a lot of good reasons. And I think as a province, we're well situated to become a very, a part of that industry and really take a share of what it is to come when it comes to film and television.
I'm the head of the catering department, so my job is to make sure that everybody gets nutrition, gets fed, and of course that the food gets out on time. I like the fast pace. I like the challenges. Every day is a challenge, and I love the people that we work with here. There's a great bunch of people.
And for you?
Yeah, this is my first time working on a comedy, but it definitely gives a different vibe, I think, to the entire crew. It kind of bleeds through to everybody, and it's such a fun atmosphere to kind of work on the show. So,
I actually went to film school for, the one I went to was a radio television film, and I was going to do radio. I was DJ in high school, so why wouldn't I? But I loved television so much because it's collaborative. And I just like hanging around. Radio's very singular. I pick your records or do your thing or do your news, and but television is very collaborative. So I just wanted to do the TV labs and the TV productions and be with a whole bunch of friends. So it's social, and you can't do it alone. So that's the kind of creativity I like. So that's how I got into it.
I think my favorite part is the people we get to work with. Yeah, it's the team environment, and it's coming together to make this amazing product. And from seeing it on a page to watching it on TV, it's pretty incredible.
It's trying to make it all happen within the confines of production. Production is not elastic in that it doesn't give you more of anything. So it's about fitting it all into the one box you get. It's kind of like a black box. If you watch chef shows, you get a black box. Those are the ingredients. But those who win figure out how to use those exact ingredients in the best and most economical way and make it flourish. That's what we have to do. So that's the challenge.
Acting is a huge part of who I am. Ever since I was little, it's been a dream of mine. I remember being about 7 and begging my parents to let me start.
Really?
It took a while, but it's your own journey and you have to be patient and really love acting because it can get really hard sometimes. And so you just kind of gotta keep your head down, keep working, keep your confidence up, and just make sure you love it. And if you do, then you know you're in the right thing.
I'm mainly a set production assistant as opposed to the office production assistant. And I work really closely with cast, so I make sure they have what they need. I make sure they know where we are in the day, take their lunch orders, and I assist with the other ADs as well. I do the lockups, I yell the roles, yeah.
We get up really, really early. We
do their hair and makeup.
Yes, do their hair and makeup.
We also maintain the makeup for each scene, and so we'll go in for finals and do touch-ups.
I've seen you running back and forth to try to make things work. All the looks in season 1 that we've seen are incredible, so congrats to you both. Laura.
And I think season 2 you'll see even more.
Ooh, I cannot wait.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. Yeah.
They put the bar higher this year.
Oh, God, okay.
I come in really early in the morning and I fire up my generator, make sure everything's good to go when people get here. So I'm here really early, make sure everything's powered up and happy, and then I sit and babysit my generator all day until the last people leave, and then I turn it off and go home.
You have to have a very strong work ethic and a tough exterior shell. What we always tell people who are pitching to us is, why is it you telling this story? Why is it not someone else? Like, what is this story? How is this story representative of you so that the viewers will connect with it? So I think just follow your stance on what you want to tell, and within that, it will show from the film or the show.
If you're in the creative side of it or the acting side of it, my advice is always, if you can imagine yourself being happy doing something else, I would do that, because it's friggin' hard. But if you can't imagine yourself doing anything else and you can't breathe, then you know what you need to do.
There's nothing unless you have a solid crew who can put the pieces together. And that's where the real magic happens.
I love being here. I love every day is a different adventure. One day you're filming a car chase, one day you're in an office downtown, every day is a new story and you work with some amazing people. And
I learned that I want to be on set for my entire life.